our week in books. We had a really productive week in that we both got a ton of books last Saturday when we went to Anderson's Young Adult Book Conference. So, Literature Conference, thank you.
So there were a bunch of young adult authors there, both debut authors and well-established authors. And so we got an obscene amount of books.
Spent too much money.
I said to my husband, I'm good for Christmas. Check.
But what was awesome was that then we were able to get a lot of them signed. So
that was the cool thing. Everything that we got signed. I do have an extra that was already signed there. So
this one was pre-signed.
Well, he spoke. He did
an
a
awesome
fabulous
keynote.
Hilarious.
Funny guy. Harlan Coben, and so he talked about this book Shelter, and I thought it sounded good, and it's signed by him, which is wonderful, and there's a sequel which will be fun, I'm sure, and the publisher is
Rachel featured as a book trailer Thursday very recently, I believe. So
another person we met, however, I was a big baby and his line was really long, so I didn't stand in it. Therefore mine are not signed, but I also featured Paul Griffin in this as one of my book trailers, I think, didn't I?
Yes. Stay
With Me. And so I was like, oh, I got to meet the guy whose book trailer I liked because this book sounded really good.
And there was tons of chatter about this book being an possible award winner for this year. So, just saying.
And vote,
people were really talking about that.
Yeah, so pretty cool. And then we got this on Saturday, which apparently was our ability was to get it early because it wasn't out yet on Saturday. So again, Paul Griffin, Burning Blue, and Paul
still
Griffin,
might not
Stay
be
With
out.
Me.
He said it's later in the month.
He said this month, so I don't know when this month, but I have my hands on Burning Blue, which is awesome. And I think this was also Penguin. Yeah, so they were both Penguin as well. And then people who I got signed. Listen to Wendy Del Sol, I can't speak, and so she told us all about her trilogy, Stork, Frost, and Flock. So I picked all of them up, and then I had her sign each one, which is delightful, and she was a really friendly person, and these sounded great, so I got them. Then I picked up Dark Unwinding, just because it was on my to-read list, and she was there, and so she, if I can find it, signed my book. Ooh, I can't find it. Just trust me. It's signed. There it is. Okay. Then, oh my gosh, this sounded so good. I hadn't heard of it before. Into the Wild Nerd Yonder. And it's My Life on the Dork Side by Julie Halpern. And I don't know why, but I just read the book jacket and it sounded really good. And so I went and I was like, I can't wait to read this. Would you sign it? And so there she did. Isn't that nice? Then I listened to, oh my gosh, why did my name just leave?
John Madormo.
Thank you. John Madormo speak about Charlie Collier and the series that's going on with Charlie Collier, and he sounds like the funniest kid detective. So I picked that up specifically because
I would say middle grade on that one for sure.
He said that it is, they say for reading it's 9 years old and above. 9 and up. So definitely middle school. I think he's in 6th grade. I think the main character is in 6th grade. So that totally fits. And this is another Penguin for young readers. And he signed it, but I specifically picked it up for my niece, Elizabeth. I'm going to read it first. But then I'm going to give it to my niece, Elizabeth. This series, Ghost Girl, and by Tanya Hurley. Who's the publisher? Little Brown. Little Brown's the publisher. And I don't know, I just loved, here, would you hold these? I just loved, like, the artistic element. If you can tell, this is a silver edge. And, like, it's just so, like, it's just so pretty. Like, everything's so pretty in there. And so, she actually sat at our table while we were eating. It was so fun meeting her. And so she signed these all for me, and they say, you know, rock in peace, not rest in peace. But she was a fabulously interesting person. And what got me was that she said her main character, she was like, what would be the hardest thing for a character to overcome? And she decided it would be death. And so her main character dies in the very opening of her book by choking on a gummy bear. So that sounded fascinating, right? And
must be a heck of a gummy bear.
Must have been old. Hopefully it was delicious. before she choked on it. And then the final book I got, Heather Brewer was also a keynote speaker, and this sounded really good. The Legacy of Trill Soulbound, and it sounded like a really strong female character who would take care of things. And so I picked this up and had her sign it as well, which was fabulous. Look, it has little fangs. Isn't that fun? Anyway, so there we go. That was my excitement. You're up.
Okay, so...
Woo! You have even more than I did. Hold on to your socks.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Okay, so Maggie Stiefvater was there, and I absolutely positively adore her, so I got the rest of the books that I don't already have from her. And so I've actually not read Lament and Ballad, and they were her first two, I believe, YAs. And so here they are in paperback, and she just did her wild little signature there to Anne. That's what it's in both of them. But then I noticed today, check this out, I got Scorpio races, and she drew a stinking horse. Can you see it? Oh. So I love that when she does it, because I love her as an artist too, and she does amazing things, especially her book trailers, and her writing is awesome, and I love her. And she spoke too, and she did a really great job, and I learned a lot of stuff about her that I didn't know already. Even though I have already seen her before as this speaker, I still learned a ton of stuff about her, so that was great. I also got Paul Griffin's books, but I did wait in line forever, and the reason that his line was so long is because he makes a personal connection with every single person in his line, hugs you, comes out and talks to you, and he was very, 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 very cool. I really liked him a lot. So I got that signed, Stay With Me, and Burning Blue.
And there both of them he wrote little notes.
Yeah, and they're different little notes, and I really like it because he was really chatty about being a librarian and budget cuts and stuff like that. So it was really cool. He was really good at making connections, like I said. I also got Dark Unwinding by Sharon Cameron. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and yes, she signed it. There it is. I also went to a panel that was debut authors, and it was Donna Connor and Sharon Cameron and Anne Greenwood Brown, who I love, and so I didn't know much about Sharon Cameron now, and now I feel like I know a ton about the book, about her research, about what spurred her to write this, which is fascinating, and I'm totally going to research the place that she, and the person that this kind of sparked for her to write about it. And I was fascinated by the fact that all of the automatons and machines in here are real, that she drew them up and then had her husband make them. So every single machine in here is real and functions, and the drawing in the very front is her husband's drawing of one of them. So that's very cool. And then I got hardcovers of all of these because it really makes me nutty when they don't fit on the shelf together. So it was really fun for Wendy to sign these. I was like one of the first people in line, and she's like, oh, this is so cool to see all three of them together. I've only once ever seen them all together before. So that was kind of cool to see her excitement. Yeah, it doesn't look at all the... So it was cool to see her excitement about it too. I thought that was a cool little experience. So yeah, and she signed them all. So yay. Let's see. I have Heather Brewer's Legacy also. And yeah, she spoke. She was amazing. She talks about bullying. And actually, I started following her blog now. And I absolutely adore it. It's like my new favorite blog to follow. So it was really great.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She talked about bullying and talked about her life. And she was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Great speaker. Would be a phenomenal person to have. At a middle school especially, but a high school too, based on the bullying and on the writing and on her life and just kind of everything. So she's fascinating. So like she said, we sat with Tanya, and I got The Blessed, which is her new... Super creepy. And I actually featured the book trailer for it today on the blog, so you'll have to check that out. Today is Thursday in our world right now. You're watching this on Saturday, or perhaps after, but it's actually Thursday in our world.
Yes.
Anyway, we get to go back in time today. All right, so, yeah, Martyrs. And she's really funny. She told her her favorite, somebody asked her what her favorite martyr story was. Super creepy. Ugh. super creepy.
Gouging her eyes out.
Ripping out your eyes because they're your best feature and putting them on a tray. So, and then she cries blood. Anyway.
No, thanks.
Then the last person that I got, I've seen everybody going on and on about these. These are from Tanglewood Press. Ashfall and Ashen Winter by Mike Mullen. And he was really fun to meet, too. He was very chatty, spent a lot of time with you, too. So, of course, his line was long, too. But I was really patient. Look at how stinking big these are. Oh, my God.
The covers are really...
But I'm very interested in these, especially as a high school librarian, because I'm always looking for new books to suggest to different core departments to add to reading in their curriculum. And he is a super science guy, and this is an like the super explosion of the volcano below Yellowstone and what did happen in these to the world, to the country, to everything, based on this. And so I'm very interested in that. I think it would be a really cool read for them. And then the other thing that I got, because I was in the shop and it said autograph, a signed copy. She wasn't there, but I picked it up and hugged it and refused to let it go until I had paid for it. By Jennifer Revolution. It is. I adore this book. It was so good. She researched for 7-8 years. If you haven't read Revolution by Jennifer Donnelly, what are you waiting for? It's phenomenal. It's by Delacorte Press. And I like the hardcover as opposed to the paperback. Yeah. The paperback has a key, and I don't think it's quite as exciting. And one thing that we got from them when we first got there, we got these little prize bags, nice little gift bags when we first got there, and we got Arcs of Venom by Fiona Paul. And I think Rachel featured the book trailer back whenever, a few months ago.
I know, there were a bunch of these that I did book trailers on.
I like that the Arc is just as gorgeous as the hardcover is supposed to be. So, and then we got tons of other stuff like
tons of
pins and tons of swag, and I brought back tons of posters and stuff like that, and
good stuff.
Rachel, actually, she didn't bring it. She forgot to tell you, but she took her own copy of Every Day by David Levithan, and she had that signed by him, and he spoke too, and wow, that book sounds awesome. So and the other person, Donna Connor, I kind of ran out of money. That was it. I had to cut myself off. But Skinny, I'm definitely going to get for my high school library. I think it sounds awesome and just great. It's about a girl who's 302 pounds, and she's 15, and she decides to have gastric bypass surgery. And it's supposed to be a happy story, just, And she wanted to make sure she told everybody that. And it's actually based on her life, because she's in the debut author panel, and she talked about that, about how certain things in the books actually happened to her as an adult. And so that's what she kind of sparked her writing. So
yeah, it was fascinating. I thoroughly enjoyed myself meeting all of those authors and listening to them talk about their writing and their books. So
yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
I didn't listen to a single author that was boring in any way, or their stories were great. Their personal stories were incredibly interesting. I don't know that I'd heard a lot of their personal stories before, and a lot of them talked about bullying. It was just kind of the topic at hand, and it was fascinating to listen to. So anyway,
all right,
have a great week.
Hope your week in books was just as awesome as ours, and we'll see you later.